All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our wonderful K-12 school fair. We have had an amazing lineup of schools so far last week, and we're excited to kick off today with another amazing special guest who I see she is already here. So we are good to go. So, in terms of introductions, you may have remembered me from last week. I hope so. My name is Nicholas Edwards again. I'm the Associate Director of Middle and Upper School Admissions Consulting here at InAmerica Education. And today I have the privilege of introducing the renowned, the prestigious Middlesex School. Sorry, I see the flag in the background, so you are representing. Middlesex is a co-educational private day and boarding school serving grades 9 through grade 12. This school is located in Concord, Massachusetts, just a little bit outside of Boston. And in this very homey yet intimate community, students are able to shine and have the space to find their passion and truest potential. So without further ado, I present our speaker from Middlesex, Ms. Starry, who is the Assistant Director of Admissions. And I believe you have another title as well, which is the Associate Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. So I'm going to turn this over to Starry to introduce yourself and the magic of Middlesex.
Thank you so much, Nicholas, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I am Starry Ju at Middlesex, and this is my currently second year here, working as an admission officer, as a DEI practitioner, as a dorm parent, as an ICL champion cross-country coach. We won our first two races this season, still undefeated yet. Hopefully it will be a wonderful season for our team throughout the rest. So it's really great pleasure for me to see everyone here on Zoom. And just to give everyone a little bit more background about myself. So I was born and raised in Wuhan, China. So I do speak Chinese or Mandarin and actually Cantonese because I went to Hong Kong for college. So if you have any questions later on, feel free to use your own first language, and I will be able to help you with a little bit of translation in the Zoom setting. And so I came to the US as an international student, of course, a little bit older than your kids when I was in grad school. So I definitely understand how much investment it is for everyone to have a faith, right, in American education system and have the trust in a lot of these boarding schools and day schools to take care of your kids. So please ask me, of course, Nicholas, and our counselors in American education has great expertise, and we're really here to help you find the best match for a kid. Okay, Nicholas, so I can share my screen, right?
Yes, you should be able to share your screen. The presentation,
Perfect.
The floor is yours.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, are we looking at my screen right now? Yes, perfect. So I will get us started. And of course, I have a very lovely video to share with you all. And selfishly speaking, there are a lot of my former students and advisees in this video. So I love watching it, and also really highlights what is so special about Middlesex, right? Everyone wonders, what is the one thing that sets apart Middlesex from a lot of other boarding schools or day schools? So maybe you'll be able to find the answer in this video. We're gonna have a watch together.
Just lock eye contact with the camera?
All right.
There it is, okay.
There's some special quality that's in the walls itself of this place.
I met so many people that have just helped me along my way throughout my 4 years, and I couldn't be more grateful.
The essence of Middlesex is just the depth of the connections.
I'm here because of the people. I love my students and I love my colleagues.
I love that the passion and commitment and curiosity that kids bring to the classroom every day.
Everyone's very much so supportive of you trying your own things and finding your own path.
This is a challenging school. I mean, we're always pushing ourselves to be our best in, the academics and sports and arts.
How can you be someone who is a lifelong learner? It's how can you challenge yourself in areas that you didn't even know that you were interested in?
It's a place where students can shine and develop.
Everyone has different interests, and I think that's what makes the school so rich.
Middlesex is a place where you feel like you can do everything you want to.
Everyone has talent, and there's space here for everyone to demonstrate that talent.
You can do pretty much anything that you want, and that's a really important thing for students and for adults.
They have the chance to stretch and to find this new passion that they didn't even know existed.
We find the commonalities and sort of share our humanity with each other.
They care for us, not just as students, but as people.
Our students work really well together. They work really well with adults. The adults work really well together, and the adults work really well with students.
I have such a strong support system of faculty, whether that's my advisor, whether that's my teachers. The way that they give to this community, you can tell that they love it.
The adults and the students really buy into the community together.
It's kind of the beauty of being at Middlesex, is that if I am doing something, I know that people are going to show up to support me.
We are a community of individuals who are all in, and we want you to be all in with us.
You will find good friends, but you'll also discover athletic and intellectual potential in yourself you didn't know you had.
What can you give back? And what can others give to you to enrich your experience? I mean, that's Middlesex.
It's the place where you can find not only your promise, but your passion.
You're going to be known, you're going to be needed, but most importantly, you're going to feel like you belong here.
And there is definitely a place for you and a place to succeed.
You can be whoever you want to be in Middlesex.
I know people always say like time flies when you're having fun, but that's literally what it was.
All right. Yes, like even after watching this video for like hundreds of times, I still get a little bit teary-eyed to hear my former students and my current students and colleagues talking about Middlesex, right? We're not really just focused on the prestigious like STEM programs we have or how robust our writing program is. It's really about each individual student, right? And their relationships, the authentic connections they develop with every single one around them. And that's what really makes Middlesex as a community stands out from a lot of other schools. And I believe especially for a lot of your kids who are coming to Concord, Massachusetts from very far away, right? You want them to be taken care of. You don't want them just to get like all the A's and a 4.0 GPA or like fives in AP exams, but you want them to thrive, to grow, and to find a sense of purpose and belonging as a person. And I think Middlesex will be a great place for that, as these colleagues and my current and former students have testified to. We're not watching it again. Okay, we're progressing.
Actually, sorry, if you don't mind me interrupting really quickly, before we get into this at a glance, I've heard that in terms of like technical support, the caption button on your side actually isn't working. So just wanted to send you a really quick message to the side if you can somehow get your captions on. And I sent you a few instructions through Zoom. Sorry about that.
Okay. Let me exit my screen so that I can see the CC buttons. I know the captions are important. There we go. Is it on right now? Let me keep talking a little bit more.
Yeah, as long as you make your speaking language as English and you just translate over to Chinese, then we're good to go.
Okay, let me see if it's speaking language English, caption language raw transcript. So I have to change it to Chinese, right?
Yeah, just Chinese simplified.
Okay. Let me see. Well, this is actually my first time doing the CC, but let me pull up the instruction on the same page. Under speaking, top down menu under translate to select Chinese. So sorry about this.
No, that's okay.
There we go. My speaking language English. I turned on translation. I don't see a top down menu for Chinese.
There's nothing for Chinese for you?
Yeah. Is it because of the version of Zoom that I have right here?
Okay. Yeah, I should say click both original and translated language. Do you see that button right there? It should be under the My Speaking Language and it says Show Original and Translated.
No, so my speaking language is if I click on that, it's a drop-down menu. So I chose English. There is Chinese on that list, but right, I'm not speaking Chinese right now.
Right.
And then under that it says my caption language, and there's no drop-down menu. It only says raw transcript.
Okay, it seems like it's good to go now. So let's just continue moving forward and pushing, and don't worry about on your end. Thanks for looking into that.
Okay. So sorry about this. I probably need to get a better version of Zoom.
I think I'm looking at the chat here and it says we can see Chinese CC now. So I think you're good to go. You solved it.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. So so on this slide, I'm just going to talk about some basic stats about Middlesex. So currently we have 420 students enrolled in this both boarding and day community. Roughly 30% of our students are day and 70% are boarding. And it's more or less even across each grade. Our ninth grade class is slightly smaller, so around 92 to 95 students every year, and our junior, right, so 11th grade class is the biggest. So currently we have 110 students in that grade. And this year we're very proud that we bumped up our international student percentage a little bit more due to the influences of COVID and a myriad of other reasons. We were at 9% in the last couple of years, but this year we are at 12%. And what I also want to highlight is that within the 12%, we have a very diverse population of international students, right? You see a lot of other schools, probably predominantly those international students are from East Asian countries, which is, there's nothing bad about it. It's just like the richer the experience is, the richer the experiences that students are bringing in terms of their culture, in terms of the languages, in terms of their practices and beliefs, right? We believe diversity is something that strengthens our community. So within this small but mighty 12% of international students, we have kids from Finland, from Germany, from Canada, from Mexico, from Panama, Puerto Rico, of course, China, Korea, Singapore, a lot of those countries. So it is a truly authentic international experience instead of, we have a lot of kids just like coming from China and they just hang out with each other all the time. So another advantage of us is that we're located 25 miles outside Boston. So on the weekend, we do provide a lot of trips to Boston for our students, like going to Chinatown to celebrate Mid-Autumn Festival, which is coming up this weekend. We also do a lot of just like taking kids to MFA, the Museum of Fine Arts, a lot of all kinds of book festivals, and even just going to the movies and going shopping on Newbury Street, or the fact that it's very close, it's only like 40 minutes away from Logan Airport. So those are all good reasons why being close to Boston and embracing that proximity can benefit us as a community. And currently we represent 32 states and 20 countries, which I kind of elaborated before. And our average class size is 12. So, and for some of our higher end science and language and humanities courses, that number can get to as low as like 5 to 6. So it's a very personalized and individualized academic experience for most of our students. And the 4:1 is the student to faculty ratio. And that's best exemplified by our advisory system that I'm going to go through in a minute. And we are also an AP school. We do provide 23 advanced placement courses. And most of our students, most of our juniors and seniors do take somewhere between, I would say, like 2 to 4 AP courses. And of course, a lot of students do go hard on those AP requirements in their senior year. But the availabilities are always here on campus. And a few other fun facts. So we offer 28 sports and a total of 50 plus teams. So the athletic, since I won't be going into that later. So the athletic requirement at Middlesex is 4-4-2-1. So thinking about your students' 4-year career here, right? So sorry, did I say 3-3-2-1? Correct myself. So for the first 2 years, 9th grade and 10th grade years, each student has to play 3 team sports, rotating through the 3 seasons, right? For example, cross country is a fall sport, and basketball is a winter sport, and rowing, right, it's a spring sport. And after the first 2 years, students can take a season kind of off. It doesn't mean like you can just stay in your bedroom or dorm room and do whatever you like. We still want you to be accounted for in those kind of unstructured times in the afternoon. And at the same time, there are also art requirements that you can fulfill. You can be a manager of the team. So there are different things that you can be engaged in if sports is not necessarily your thing. And the last thing is probably my favorite facts about Middlesex. So we do have 40-ish dogs on campus, and students love our faculty dogs. And you'll see them like walking. You saw actually in the video, right? Like if I'm meeting with unfortunately I don't, if somebody's meeting with their advisees and they decided to take a walk around circle, like that's a perfect time to walk their dogs as well. So our students also interact with our faculty dogs a lot. We bring a lot of them out right before exams as like a puppy therapy, just to calm the nerves a little bit, provide a little bit of comfort to all the students and help them release their stress. So again, that's just another way that we bring all adults and students together as a community. Okay, am I going too fast? Do you have any questions? I do see something in the chat. Let me see. How many students do you typically enroll each year? And some of your strength courses? Language support from international. I'll go to the first 2 later because that it requires me to do a little bit more elaboration. The last one, we don't provide language support for international students, which means we have a pretty high standards or actually requirements in terms of students' English proficiency when we're looking at students' applications. So yes, we don't have any ESL programs. Okay, so as preluded to by one of our students in the video, right? So Find Your Promise is the school model at Middlesex. So it's not exactly find your dream or find your passion or find your interest, but find your promise, because we believe there's potential in every single student, and especially high school, right? You're arguably most important 4 years of your life is a self-discovery and self-exploration journey. And we hope at Middlesex, right, we usually use this metaphor. Middlesex is like a buffet. So you come and you see all the delicious and nutritious food on the on the table, and you go around and pick what you need that suits your own interest. And sometimes you see, oh, this person is getting a little bit more I'm just making it up, like cacio e pepe spaghetti. Like I've never had that before. So you might be encouraged to try. So in that process, you will be able to figure out what kind of student you are, what kind of person you are, what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not, and what you want to pursue further before your high school career. So I think that's the whole point of Find Your Promise. At the same time, right, as a community, we also provide a certain level of psychological safety and comfort for you to try. If you fail, right, and when you fail, I don't want to make it sound like it's all rainbows and puppies here. So failures that are important to young people, and learning from your mistakes and errors it's an important part of growing up, right? So we also have a very strong safety network here from your advisors, your peers, your dorm parents, your coaches, your teachers, to be there so that you won't fall through the cracks, so that you have somebody to talk through your happiness and your sadness and your frustrations and your disappointments when those things happen. That's all part of the whole community experience, and then also part of students, for students to find yourselves. So again, I want to emphasize on this page the warmth and cohesiveness of this community. Everyone is in for each other. Everyone wants the best of each of you. And I've heard a lot of, especially Chinese parents, right, asking me like if Middlesex is really a very like 很卷的学校, right? There's a lot of internal competition. Like students also want to, like, everyone wants to outwork each other, outscore each other. And there's like a toxic almost level of culture or competitiveness. And I will say, like, yeah, even though we have a very strong academic program. It doesn't mean that's our culture. Do students study hard? Yes. Do they have high expectations on themselves? Yes, right? But at the same time, they do it in a very healthy way. They do it in a very collaborative way. Just to give you an example, right, right now is the peak season for high school admissions. At the same time, it's also peak season for college admissions. Our seniors are so busy with their AP courses, with writing essays, filling out their common app application. At the same time, I was just on duty last Thursday night, and we have seniors sitting down and juniors sitting down with our ninth graders, helping them literally sentence by sentence proofread their English paragraph, which is the ninth graders' assignments to be handed in the next day, right? And they're just so patient, and I'm just like, oh, you can articulate what you learned in your ninth grade year and be able to teach the younger students when you are a senior, right? Nothing shows how solid they've learned their knowledge and skills, at the same time, just like how supportive of each other they are. And I've gone through academic excellence a little bit. I also want to mention the focus on individual growth, right? So it is great if you come to Middlesex thinking, oh, I'm going to be a math and science student, and I'm going to take try to participate in all the contests. I'm gonna do like AMC 12, all those great things. But at the same time, as what I mentioned, it's a journey of self-discovery and self-exploration. We really want students to step outside of their comfort zone, right? Try something new, maybe a theater program, maybe music, maybe mindfulness, maybe ceramics, maybe take a high level of history class. That's something did not interest you in the past. So, or if not, right, become a better leader, become a better community member, become a person who's more passionate about leading a club or student activities. So there are so many areas that you can grow into while you're at Middlesex. I also elaborate on the positive peer culture a little bit. And last one is commitment to inclusive education. So especially a lot of international students or students who just are not from New England or traditional, right? This kind of boarding school family background. Maybe you're the first one in your family who's ever been introduced or exposed to this kind of education system. Maybe you've never lived away from your family. Maybe you've never really had English as your medium of instruction day in and day out. So we're really committed to making sure everyone feels at home at Middlesex. So from the other side of my job, right, in terms of diversity, equity, inclusion programs, we celebrate everyone's identities on campus, no matter if it's Hispanic Heritage Month coming up, or we are bringing another speaker to come to us to talk about gender inclusivity. So it is really a place where your kids will feel accepted, appreciated, and valued for who they are, not just for what they do, right? They can be a brilliant math student, they can get A's in English essays, but this kind of connection and relationship should not be transactional, right? Not because they got this gold medal, so the school loves them, right? We love them, we take care of them for who they are, not just for what they do. All right, so on the next few slides, I want to touch upon our signature programs, which is also answering one of the parents' questions, Gigi, right? What's some of your strongest courses? I would highlight mindfulness, writing program, and our advising. So for mindfulness, this might be a very new idea to a lot of, especially families right now, especially international families. So mindfulness in Chinese, right, it means 正念. So it's kind of like meditation, but it's a specific form of meditation that helps you to accept your emotions and feelings in a non-judgmental way, right? We're talking about anxiety, stress, happiness, excitement, again, disappointments, angry, right? So a lot of those, no matter if it's a positive or negative emotions, we want to provide students with a quiet and calm and structured space to sit in those moments, listen to your body, listen to your brain, so that, right, when bigger moments and stronger emotions hit, you will have the muscle to deal with them, right? So we all know that like teenagers are going through, it's a hyper stressful age for our teenagers. I am so grateful that I was not a teenager in this day and age because of social media, because of how competitive the high school admissions and college admissions process has become, because how much expectations we have on students in terms of academics, arts, and athletics, and all the extracurriculars, all those things. Our students do not have time to learn, right, how to process those feelings and how to deal with them. So the most common strategy, right, they use is just to avoid and distract themselves, and that's when they resort to social media to just like scroll down for hours and hours, and that's not necessarily, or playing computer games, right, that does not necessarily help them relieve stress. So mindfulness has been proven to be scientifically helpful in terms of helping students and adults. I'm actually enrolled in the mindfulness program myself as a faculty member, to help us sleep better, concentrate better, reduce stress, and be more just focused and improve our relationships a little bit more. So all our students have to go through a semester-long mindfulness course, and it's also a different way for our new students to get to know each other. There will be classes when mindfulness classes with students who don't play the same sports or take the same Spanish course with them. And so it's a kind of community building as well. And when they progress to the higher grades, and some of those mindfulness programs are taught by our older students and co-taught by faculty and staff. So I'm one of these 70 faculty and staff members, and I'm very excited that I'm gonna begin my Mindfulness 2 program next Monday. Yes. So the second, and this is arguably our strongest academic program, our writing program. So we take a lot of pride in it. It's completely developed in-house for years and years. And so every 10th grader takes a writing course, which is called Writing Workshop, which pairs with their 10th grade English curriculum, right? When they read Hamlet and they take this writing workshop course to basically focus on how to write a good piece of analytical writing. So we're not talking about creative writing or poems in 10th grade, specifically in this program, right? So we really, really want to debunk the myth of like, oh, some people are just born to be a great writer. No, we believe that if you learn the skills, right, if you learn the right structure, everyone can be a great English writer. So the writing workshop, however, it sounds like a very intense program, which is, right? A lot of our students are stressed. Oh, I have an English in class. So you literally have to write a solid paragraph, and it will be graded on it within 40 minutes on pen and paper. Right, so there's no like there isn't that much editing you can do as you do on a laptop. So you really, really have to plan ahead, and of course be familiar with the text that you're reading so that you can easily pick up quotes to support your arguments. And there's topic sentence, and there are certain ways for you to insert your quotes. So there are a lot of those just like focus on little details and techniques. So and however, even though that course sounds stressful and intense, it is only your pass or fail course, right? There is no like, oh, I can do it so well that I'm getting A+ in a writing workshop. No, as long as you meet the requirements, you'll get a pass, and that's also a part of your Middlesex graduation requirement. An interesting fact: a lot of Middlesex, because of our strong writing program and just the foundation that I've laid in terms of English and writing, our graduates after college, right? They become editors at New York Times and Boston Globe, those major editing publishers, and a lot of them also get like Pulitzer Prize winners. Brett Stevens was one who just came back to speak at school last year. So yeah, it's a great network of very accomplished English writers, and they probably all began here at Middlesex. And the last signature program I want to touch upon is our advising program, right? And that's what I mentioned when I said our student-teacher ratio is 4:1. So on average, our advisory groups are 4 to 5 students big. And basically, that's how I introduce my role as an advisor to my advisees' parents. Like, basically, I'm your second mom, right? I'm your mom on campus. Of course, I'm not doing like your laundry, and I'm not cooking for you. But however, like, I am this trusted adult, like, who are so invested in your success, and I'm here to support you. And I sit down with each of my 5 advisees one-on-one for 30 to 40 minutes a week. And those 40 minutes are solely for them, right? Whatever concerns they have in terms of their academics, whatever success they want to celebrate and share with me. And for example, I just met with one of my advisees. We went through all her courses. She's doing well in English, even though she got a 70 in her vocabulary test. And I actually got an email earlier this week from her teachers, like, give you a heads up, right? So-and-so really didn't do well in this vocabulary test. All her peers got somewhere between 80 to 90, but she got a 70. This seems quite out of character for your advisee, just to wanted to know. So I had that in mind. And when I was meeting with her yesterday, and she was like, yeah, I had a 70 in my vocabulary. So that didn't come to me as a surprise. And we were able to unpack, so tell me what happened. Like, did you have enough time to study? Did you know what you studied for? Did anything else happen that day that impacted your performance in that quiz, right? So it was a very timely conversation. And she was able to tell me that she was planning to study it the night before, but it hit 10:30. That's when the lights out time for boarders, for 9th graders. So she was like, okay, I couldn't study. And she was only able to go through it with some of her friends during lunch. Of course, that was not enough preparation, which led to the result of her getting a 70. So, and then we run through a few solutions, right? You can ask teachers for extension. If you really, really need extra time to study, you can wake up a little bit early the next morning, right? So it is very helpful for me as an adult to figure out what kind of support my advisees need, no matter if it's academic skills. And actually, she also mentioned another thing that's a little, not exactly conflict, right? A moment of uneasiness, I'd say, with her roommate. So we were also able to unpack that. So I would think, right, as an advisor, I play such an important role to my advisee's life, especially boarders. And it's, right, somebody who's not outside of us, who understands Middlesex, who is an adult, who is an experienced educator, and who is so willing and is so happy to spend time, just listen to you and help you problem solve. So it is really one of our strongest programs here on campus. And that's how we make sure, like, there are so many eyes on each student. And one thing I also want to share with everyone is that in our faculty meeting, we talk about students, right? If me as an advisor, I was like, okay, my student seems like really down, like recently, right? They're not as happy or upbeat as they used to be. Like, I'm going to bring their name up in the faculty meeting. I was like, are other teachers, like dorm parents, coaches, classroom teachers, seeing the same pattern? Do we need to connect them with a counselor? Do I need to proactively reach out to the parents to see if anything's happening at home? So it's a really holistic approach towards taking care of and supporting our students. Okay, so I think I have like 10-ish minutes. I will run this part pretty quickly, and I'll leave some time for questions, and also see a few other questions in the chat. I will definitely go through them after the last bit. So application process, right? So we do look at students' character, intellectual curiosity, right? So it really does not mean much to us if you just throw in a bunch of medals at us. but you cannot talk about why you are so you're interested in Java, why you are so interested in writing, and why you're so interested in astronomy. I'm just like giving you a few examples, right? So we want to see that spark in students. We want to see that intrinsic motivation in students, not just, oh, I'm just so good at it, and my parents sent me to a lot of contests and I got good results. So we want to see that internal drive in pursuing knowledge, pursuing the why and how, not just the what. And of course, the match matters, right? Like we want students to be able to participate and contribute to our programs. Like if you're a great swimmer or a great diver or a great fencer, that's all beautiful and wonderful, but like we don't really have a program here for you, right? So we do have students who do that. A lot of the day students that do play outside sports or have an outside interest, but at the same time, it means pursuing those opportunities will take away the time they spend on campus and with this community. So that's something we are also cautious and mindful about. It's not like, oh, I'm a great swimmer, I don't mention it in my application. That's not what I'm saying, right? But if you think swimming is gonna be your thing, then you do have to think hard, like how can Middlesex support you in pursuing that? And of course that goes not just like in terms of sports, right? Arts and academics across the board. So really go on our website and be familiar with the programs that we can offer. We evaluate a few things here. So this year, both SSATs and TOEFLs are required. So please, well, TOEFL has always been required, but SSAT, that was optional in the past few years. So now it is required. So please make sure to submit an SSAT score. And again, right, there's no point of pursuing, I want to be like at 98 percentile. As long as you're good, like our medium SSAT score, I think it's around 85 percentile, right? And for international students, if you are, I would say above the 90 percentile range, you are good, right? Like being a 90 and 92 or like 95 and 98, it really does not matter to us much. It is strong enough to show us that you can handle our curriculum here, right? And our academic performance at school, so basically your transcript, right? Recommendations letters from your teachers and your writing sample. Again, as what I mentioned earlier, we don't provide ESL program. So we do want our students to have some level of mastery in terms of grammar, vocabularies, and just analytical thinking as well. So that can all be shown in your writing. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so that I can see people a little bit. And okay, I'll go through the questions in the chat first. Nicholas, does it sound like a plan, or are we taking questions from the floor?
I think that sounds like a plan. I think we have a solid 12 minutes. So go through those questions. And then if we run out, I have a few that I've been thinking about on my end.
Great. So how many new students do we typically enroll each year? So we typically take around 110, 115 students, and that's 95-ish ninth graders. And we also have a good 15 to 20 10th graders that we'll be considering, and a handful, we're talking about around 5 juniors that we'll be considering. However, I would say it's very, very hard to get into Middlesex as a junior, right? Those spots are usually reserved for athletes and for transfer students from another school that's similar to Middlesex, because it would be just too overwhelming for you to come to Middlesex, right? A brand new, maybe country, a brand new school culture, and also dive into some of the most difficult advanced courses, and also thinking about college application. That's a lot to ask for our kids. So usually we don't recommend people to apply as 11th graders, juniors. Okay. Language support on top of that. So our collaboration with colleges. So we do not have a lot of formalized collaborations with labs or colleges, right? It's not like, oh, in this semester, every single student is taking this course at Harvard. Wish we could do that, but it's not really realistic. However, if, right, this happens so rarely because our the depth and breadth of our curriculum is amazing. If a student outgrows our curriculum, and we're mostly talking about math and science here, we do allow students to take college courses instead of just like doing an independent study or take another course at Middlesex. I know that currently we have some students who are doing that at MIT and UMass. So that's a possibility if you outgrow our curriculum, which doesn't happen that much. How do you deal with a student who isn't meeting expectations, who has gaps in their knowledge? Great question. So number one, our teachers offer a lot of extra support outside of class. We also have a very strong peer tutoring program that's offered by seniors and juniors on campus, so that parents, right, do not have to spend extra money to hire a tutor who's not necessarily familiar with our curriculum and academic expectations. And I would say, number one, if you are admitted, right, we do have the faith and confidence in your existing knowledge system, in your skills to learn more knowledge and improve your academic habits and skills in general. So I would say and I think another thing that I want to touch upon is that you will be taking the math and language course and sometimes science placement test before you even come in. So it's not like everyone has to take the same level of math and English and science coming in as a new student, right? So some of our students are taking the more basic level of geometry. Some are taking algebra 2 or even pre-calculus, right? So you will be able to find the right level of course for you, even though probably your starting level is a little bit lower than some other students. But you might be a brilliant artist. You might have spent a lot of time learning history instead of math in the past, right? It is all okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Our curriculum can meet you where you are, and you don't have to all finish at the same spot, right? You have your different edges and different strengths that you can grow into. So it's not really about like getting everyone from point A to point B in this 4 years. Like everyone grows into their own directions. So I hope that is a little bit clearer right now. So do you have any summer programs for students? Unfortunately, we don't offer summer programs here. Could you please introduce the social practice resources of the school? I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the social practice resources. Like, what do you mean by this? It would be great if you can elaborate that in the chat a little bit or even speak up. And I'll go back to this question later. What are the characteristics of a model student in a school? Those are great questions. So I would say an ideal Middlesex student or graduate, number one, right, we emphasize on the character. They're kind, they're nice, they're happy. And a lot of our students are very high energy, right? They can deal with a lot of things at the same time. They're not the kind of like, oh, like I'm so laid back, I just want to focus on one thing at one time. Like they're eager to be engaged in a myriad of programs and activities, and they want to be a part of the community. I think that's the important things, right? A lot of students can study like every day after school, after sports, I just want to go to my room and like crank on this math test and get straight A's. Like that's not the kind of students that we're looking for, or the kind of students that take the most advantage out of a Middlesex experience the most. So I would say great characters and community oriented. Those are the two things that we see in a lot of our most successful students. All right, I think those are all the questions I have in the chat. I might have gone through them a little bit too fast.
I think that was perfect. I think you went through all those questions. It seems like we have a solid 2 minutes, so I think I'll try to maybe throw in one more question. And for me, I guess that really revolves around the writing workshop. That's definitely a signature program that makes Middlesex stand out. I was just wondering if, as to the reason why it's placed in that sophomore year, just knowing the purpose of strong writing skills, the importance of grammar in a nutshell, which is also considered a lost art, some will say, why is that not emphasized in the freshman year, for example?
That's a great question, Nicholas. One of the biggest reasons is 10th grade is our second biggest incoming, like incoming cohort, right? So we do have 15 to 20 new students joining us every year as 10th graders. So we want to make sure that they are exposed to that program as well, and they have an opportunity to develop those important skills. And also for ninth grade year, in terms of the English curriculum, we focus a lot on creative writing. So we go through short stories, we go through poetry, we go through prose a little bit as well. So that's like a little bit less structured, if I may. And when in 10th grade year, we really go into expository writing, right? Argumentative, persuasive writing. So yeah, those are some of the reasons why we provide that writing workshop course in the 10th grade year.
Perfect. And then one more question from me. I know we hit that 9:45 mark, and I know, Star, you have other things to do. So I'll leave you with this question, which I do ask a lot of admissions officers. I normally hear the same answer, but I'll go ahead and ask you this. Is there a certain part of the holistic admissions process that really is weighed more, that families should be paying more attention into or should be focusing a little bit more on?
I would say the interview process really matters a lot, right? And that's something you can prepare for. So not in a way that you have to be heavily like rehearse and coach and like remember, like memorize like an 8,000 word essay on why you want to apply to Middlesex, right? But really just be you, be genuine, right? If you want to talk about your interests, like you have to be prepared if we ask a follow-up question, right? So that it's not like, oh, I got into this internship. Oh, just because my parents happen to know this person and they have a firm where I can intern at. So really, really develop your academic and intellectual narrative there, right? So we want students to be able to do, of course, I also realize the realistic and practical side of things. So we want to build up a longer resume, a resume that can show how capable we are in terms of being a student, in terms of being just a citizen of the world. But at the same time, like we want to see you to do the things that you really enjoy doing and that you're really good at, not just for the sake of going through this application process, right?
Perfect. And I actually think that's an ideal way, to really to conclude this. I think that ties back to what you said earlier about having students talk about their spark when you see them light up and talking a little bit about what makes them happy truly, as opposed to something that they may be forced or coached to do. So just something definitely to consider for all the families who are watching here today. But yeah, I would say with that, 9:47. So we are going to say goodbye to Starry from Middlesex. But Starry, of course, it's nice seeing you over here on the Zoom platform. And I hope to be connecting at a later point in time. But thank you for visiting us today and joining our K-12 school fair.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to leave my email in the chat. Of course, you can find it on our website as well. Don't hesitate to write to me, write in Chinese, English, whatever. Well, basically those two I can help you with. But yes, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And of course, our admission season is in full swing right now. Book an appointment as early as possible. And we also offer Zoom interviews. So if you can't travel all the way to Concord to visit us, there are ways for us to get to know you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
All right.
Have a wonderful evening.